Hello, my name is Clive Holmes and I'm the Managing Partner of the Silverfern Group. Thank you for joining the Silverfern Portfolio Investment Overview webinar for April 24, 2020. Our objective today is to give you a quick sense of how Silverfern is working with our portfolio investments during the COVID-19 pandemic. Silverfern is necessarily working from home right now, but we're in active dialogue with our portfolio managers and our investment partners. We're having dialogue with management teams around the world as we confront first a global health crisis and second a global economic crisis. We and our investment partners are working on business continuity plans, keeping employees safe and productive as local law allows, cost control efforts and liquidity provisions. Working with our customers and evaluating our long-term strategy for when we emerge from the pandemic and the lockdowns. Markets will recover, and they're beginning to recover now. The issue is really the shape of the recovery and the speed of the recovery as we come out of this storm. We have consciously designed a globally diversified portfolio to be prepared for systemic events such as COVID-19. We are pleased that the portfolio is performing as expected. Now that the storm is here, each of our investments presents unique risks that need to be managed and unique opportunities that need to be captured. I will now hand it over to Robert Spittler in our Frankfurt office and Ed Rinland in our New York office for some observations on the portfolio and our strategy. Robert.
Thank you, Clive. Some of our portfolio companies face challenges, yes, as everybody else in the marketplace. But due to our conservative use of leverage, and please let me re-emphasize, historically we have always been users of financial leverage in a very conservative way. And our philosophy to always back experienced management teams, we are now in a position where we see these two things play out very well. We see a lot of experienced senior managers handling the situation with great routine and oversight, as they have done those things before. And we see companies in financially relatively good shape, as they are not in a situation where leverage is putting an extra burden onto them. Currently, there is no situation where we are in danger of losing a business. And that is a question we get very often from investors, and I, in my responsibility in the investors relationship role, currently there is no situation where we are in danger of losing a business. Obviously, companies are affected in different ways. We expect effects to unfold over the next couple of months. So this is an early update, but we think an important one to give to our investors at this point. And now over to Ed for some additional comments on our portfolio. Ed, please.
Thanks, Robert. And I think just to pick up some of the points you and Clive have previously mentioned, as we think about all the companies in our portfolio, each one obviously has different risks and opportunities depending on their specific business, location, and customer base. The businesses in our portfolio range from food and electricity production, which are largely unaffected, to leisure and resort businesses, which are obviously seeing more of an effect today, but are expected to rebound once we come out of this crisis. The geographies of our investments are also very different around the world. We see different effects across different regions. For instance, South America, where we have an investment on the power side, which is less affected right now, to China, which was affected early on, but is now beginning to open up, to Europe and North America, which got affected later, but seem to be following China's lead and are beginning to open up, and also to Australia, which closed later in the process, but also seems to be managing that challenge much better than our other jurisdictions. We're also seeing across many of our portfolio companies differences in the workforce and how we approach business continuity and working with our customers. Some customers, such as our IT services business, have transformed to a total work from home model. Other of our portfolio investments have very small workforces, such as our electricity generation companies. And some of our businesses, like our food production businesses, are also essential, but by their nature involve centralized factory production, with a big emphasis on employee safety and cleanliness. It's also important to put everything in context. Obviously, we've seen very volatile times in the equity markets, and the credit markets continue to be volatile as well. But we are beginning to see some stabilization in the marketplace as companies manage their exposure and understand and make plans on how to reopen as the pandemic begins to subside. Lastly, despite the extremely recent onset of the virus and the economic slowdown, most companies are just only now beginning to see the effects on their financials, and will have to look at Q2 and Q3 performance to get a better understanding of the financial effects as we look to both the short term, the medium term, and the long term. Now back over to Clive.
Thanks, Ed. To briefly recap some of the things mentioned, we have a globally diverse portfolio with many risks to manage and many opportunities to capture, but which we are pleased to report is performing as expected. We are staying in close and active contact and dialogue with our portfolio investments. Importantly, we believe that new opportunities to invest will arise, and we're looking at 3 to 4 new investments right now, which are looking promising. To the extent you have further questions around your portfolio, please do not hesitate to reach out to us directly. Thank you.